Hi everybody, and welcome again to another episode of Merchant of the Month. My name is Dawn Pease and I'm with the North Andover Merchants Association, and today I'm meeting with Mike Hurley at Mike Hurley Law. Welcome to our show.
Thanks for having me.
So we're at 807 Turnpike Street, Suite 201. Mike, tell me about your law practice.
So for a long time I was actually located in Boston for about 15 years, and in 2016 I actually connected with my old law school professor who was here in North Andover and opened up my own office. So my primary focus is on estate planning and probate, so wills, trusts, things of that nature. And then I also do real estate, so when people pass away, a lot of times they have homes, condos, things they need to sell. So I get involved with some of the real estate issues related to that. And then I also do some personal injury, having worked for a long time in the insurance industry. I do some of the personal injury work if people need it. It's definitely not the core of my practice, but I definitely try to spend some time in that area to keep those skills sharp.
So you help them through just about everything that
Correct.
you can.
Yeah, I mean, and there's obviously other areas of the law that are not going to be my primary focus, so typically what I'll do there is just make sure that I get them a referral. So I don't want to say, hey, good luck, and send them on their way. I definitely have a lot of people either that I've gone to law school with or other people that I've connected with throughout my business life. So I try to make those warm transfers to make sure that people get a handoff.
Okay, so tell us what makes Mike Hurley Law different.
So, I thought a lot about when I started my own firm, what were some of the things that I see, not even just in the legal practice, but just generally in terms of people and folks interact with customers. One of the things that I try to do is say, hey, what would I want if I were a client of my law office? So things like people work during the week. They can't always come on a schedule that meets my needs. So there are many times when I'm meeting with people early in the morning before they go to work, in the evenings after they get home. I've done Saturday and Sunday appointments. I've done appointments at people's homes. I've done appointments at people's work. So I try to create a lot of flexibility in my schedule. And then the other thing that we touched upon earlier in terms of the core areas of my practice is the diversity of my experience. So I think sometimes folks will only do estate planning, or they'll only do probate. They like one and not the other. Or they don't want to do the real estate and they want to hand it off to someone else, but they don't want to be involved. So in my view, I feel like I can give them more of that end-to-end service, and it's a little bit more seamless, and they don't need to worry about, hey, I got to go to 5 different people to get something done. And I'd say probably the last thing is I try and be involved in the community as much as I can, both in terms of my personal interest, but more specifically as it relates to my office. I do events at Brightview, right up the street here on 114, Ashland Farms, which is another retirement community right across from the high school. So in my view, and we're actually doing a longevity event at the North Andover Country Club, which is really focused on the last 8,000 days. It sounds a little strange, but it's actually about 22 years. But as people get to that retirement age and older, thinking about planning, not just estate planning, but do I have a financial plan? Do I have the right elder care services that are available in the community? Do I know what those are? Do I know what the senior center offers? So I try to stay involved, not just in understanding the law, but how that impacts the citizens of North Andover and beyond.
So what are some of the key things that people should know about estate planning? I think a lot of people think that, oh, I have a will, I'm good, and find out, the hard way that it's not enough.
Yeah, and it's funny, I think sometimes people don't even necessarily go that far. I think there's definitely a group of people who do what you just described, right? They get a will and they think that's all they need. But there are many cases, especially for folks who are married, they think, hey, everything's going to go to my spouse, so I don't need to worry about having a plan. That assumes that you and your spouse are going to die at separate points in time. What if something happens to both of you? It doesn't happen frequently, and you have children. Then what? So it's, what if you're divorced and there isn't a spouse who's going to pick up after that? What if you don't pass away and there's a situation where someone needs to make medical decisions for you or update financial statements and accounts? So all of these things, in my view, and candidly, people don't want to think about the end of their life. So I think there's a lot of reasons why individuals rationalize, including me, frankly, before I got into this area of the law, You figure you're smarter than the average person and you know what's going on, and you've got beneficiary designation forms all set up, and everything's going to go to the wife, or if not the wife, the kids, and I'm fine. But the reality is there's a lot of things that folks are just not aware of. They think, hey, I did a trust. Maybe they did some planning, but they don't understand how it works. In Massachusetts, there's an estate tax threshold of $1 million, which means if you have assets, your house, your retirement plan, a few things, it doesn't take a lot, you could be above $1 million, and you may have money going to the state of Massachusetts and not to your children or your grandchildren or who's ever important to you. So my view is I always try and sit down, understand what's unique about this individual, and then build a plan off of that and give them options, because price also becomes a consideration for people. So there are definitely times where I say, hey, let's start with just getting your will, your healthcare proxy, right? Let someone make medical decisions for you, and your power of attorney. Make sure someone can access your bank accounts and things if they need to, because you're not able to. And then the variety of things you can do from there is dependent upon the individual circumstances of the person that you're dealing with.
So tell me about life outside of your law practice.
So life outside of my law practice. So I feel like God definitely has a sense of humor as it relates to me. I have 6 sisters. I have 3 daughters. My dog was a girl as well. So I think God feels like I am uniquely qualified to interact with women, young and old. And frankly, it works for me. It's something that I've been very used to growing up. So one is I have a lot of women in my life, which to me is outstanding. Number 2 is I love to be around big groups of people coming from a large family. We love to travel, music. I'm active in the community. I run the girls travel basketball program in North Andover. Have been involved with that for about a dozen years, and it's just, you know, a lot of fun when you take kids who are in the 2nd grade and don't know how to even dribble a basketball till you watch them go play high school and college, like some of the girls that I see now. And to me, that giving back to the community is what's most important to me in my personal life.
And you're a big sports fan too, right?
I am a huge sports fan. Obviously, growing up in North Andover, my wife and I are both long-term North Andover residents, and so we support, you know, obviously the high school football team's going to be going to the Super Bowl here on the 30th. We just got the news on that, and Red Sox won the World Series. So all things Boston and North Andover sports are definitely things that I'm passionate about. If you look up at any of those local events, you're likely to see me. I don't have any boys, like I said, but I'm at a lot of the football games cheering on the Knights, and hopefully they'll get a win here in a couple of weeks.
Very involved with the boosters too, aren't you?
Correct. So North Andover Booster Club, as I mentioned, I run the basketball program, but we do a variety of other sports, volleyball, cross country, field hockey, so a number of different other sports that we try and support. We actually just took over the 4th of July road race this past year, so the Booster Club is now involved with that. So again, it's another awesome way for me to feel like and transfer to my children that it's not just about what you receive, it's what you give to others. So that's definitely a big life lesson that we try and share with our children.
A strong sense of community.
Excellent, yeah, right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time
Yeah.
to talk with us today, Mike. And thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Take care.